Hey guys, it's Kales, and I'm coming at you with an unhaul. I can't remember the last time I did an unhaul, but I think it's about time. And as some of you may know, if you've been following my channel, that I have been trying to read books that I own and really trying to decide which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to get rid of, because I have over 200 books that I own that I have never read. Here are some of those books that I have read or tried to read that I've decided that I'm getting rid of. The first book that I'm unhauling is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I talked about this in my March wrap-up, which was my last video that I did, and it was good up until about 2/3 of the way through, and it was a classic, and I really can appreciate the fact that I decided that I was going to read it, but it didn't change my life, and it wasn't something that really impacted me. So while I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, I don't really feel the need to keep it, so I'm not going to. Then let me just talk about this book that I despise so vehemently that I can't believe I'm holding it up in 2 videos in a row. It is Sweetbitter. Terrible, terrible book that I just don't feel the need to keep. I gave it a 1 out of 5 stars because it's about this nobody Midwestern girl who moves to New York for no other reason other than she wants to move to New York, and she starts working as a high-end waitress. And there's nothing wrong with that, except she's inviting herself into every toxic relationship ever. She should not be there, and she sleeps with her boss to get ahead, and just, I don't want it at all in my life or on my shelf. So I'm getting rid of it. It's going away now. Then I'm getting rid of this book that I DNF'd, which was the Eyre Affair. I tried really hard to like this book. I've been told by several people that I would like this book. I need you to know, for one thing, I'm not a big fan of Jane Eyre, which doesn't have a lot to do with this, at least as far as I got. It's like this weird dystopian mystery with a little bit of magic and literariness. It's about this woman named Thursday Next who gets promoted because she works in the literary sector of her world, town, corporation, and gets moved up to the mystery sector where she solves crimes. And I didn't like it, and I didn't understand what was going on, so unfortunately I'm getting rid of it, and I have no desire to pick it up again. This one I was really sad about. My Life in France by Julia Child. I was just sad that I didn't like this as much. I wanted to. I really tried to delve into this and enjoy it, but it was just so boring. It was incredibly dull. I didn't enjoy it at all. I was sitting there trying to get through it, and I was like, why do I care about these people's lives? But I just didn't understand why I was reading it. So I stopped, and now I'm gonna get rid of it. This book, I know exactly why I'm getting rid of it, and it makes me sad. And it's one of those few books where I like the movie better than the book. They exist. It's happening. I'm making a video about it soon. The Revised Fundamentals of Caregiving was a great movie starring Paul Rudd and Selena Gomez on Netflix, and I adored it, and it was so good. And when I found out it was a book, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read this amazing book. No, this was not as amazing. This was boring and crude and was not about the road trip in the same way. It's about this gentleman who has this really horrific, traumatic past, and he gets his caregiving license. He starts working with this young gentleman who has a degenerative disease. They decide they want to go on a road trip together, but it takes a good third of the book to get to the road trip, and then it's not even about the same things. And just the little nuances the movie had of tying the story together and making it hopeful was not in this at all, and it just was crude. I understand that men speak a little bit more sexually to each other and make jokes about that, but I don't want to read about it, and two, I also know a lot of men in my life that don't do that, and so it's really hard for me as a female to delve into something like that. I did finish this, and I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, maybe a 2 out of 5 stars. I just wasn't a fan, and it makes me sad because I really loved this movie. So watch the movie, don't read the book, and I'm getting rid of it. This was another book that I DNF'd, which was The Knife's Edge, book 1 of the Ronin Saga. This was a self-published book. I met this author at Denver Comic-Con, Matthew Wolfe, and he himself was very nice and very kind, and I tried to get into this world. I really tried. I just found myself not liking it, and I didn't grab me, and it was too similar to Lord of the Rings, which I'm an okay fan of. Give me The Hobbit any day, don't give me Lord of the Rings. And I wasn't maybe in the mood for such a high fantasy, and so I hope someone else can find this and maybe enjoy it, but it was not my taste, not my cup of tea, and I just don't really want it on my shelf anymore. The last book that I'm unhauling in this group right now is Jane Steele. I know I have the unpopular opinion on this book, which is fine. I'm not a fan of Jane Eyre. So I thought, gothic retelling of Jane Eyre where she like murders people. Sounds great. Because one of the things I hate about Jane Eyre is the fact that she's meek and doesn't do anything, and a lot of things happen to her, but she takes no action, and it infuriates me. I also hate their love story. This changed none of those things. That while yes, she had a murderous past, it still ended like exactly the same, and like nothing changed, and I just didn't like it at all. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars, and it doesn't need to stay on my shelf, because frankly, it's just a Jane Eyre with murder, and that's all. So here's a stack of some of the books that I'm unhauling. So, yeah. No thanks. Unhauling. Adios, amigos. Let me know a book that you've recently DNF'd or unhauled down in the comments below. I'd be interested to know what it is. Until next time, guys. Bye! Gotta get, like, the food out of my mouth. Okay. Cool. And then... my voice is not working. The first of these... This is what I get for trying to eat breakfast before I make videos. And if it was a Netflix...